Hello everyone. So welcome back to the second video on mean, median, mode and range. In the previous video we discussed the basics of mean, median and mode, and we did solve two questions also. Now in this video we'll be taking it from where we left off in the first video, and we'll be starting off with question number 3. Okay. If this is the first video that you're watching on mean, median and mode, then I would request you to please go through the video number 1, where I have discussed the basics of mean, median and mode, like how do we define them, how do we calculate them, because in this video we'll be simply solving the questions and nothing else. Okay. Alright, so let's begin with question number 3. Okay, so pause the video and try this question yourself, please. Alright, let's see what we can do with this one. So it says that average of 7 integers is 35. So average basically means that mean is 35. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the sum will be 35 into 7, which will give you a result of 245. Median is 40. So I'll be arranging them in their ascending order, and I'll be making the fourth one 40. Mode is 42, which means 42 has to come at least twice. 42 has to come at least twice. And it says that find the maximum possible value of the smallest integer. So I need to maximize this number. Okay. Which basically means I'll have to minimize all the remaining numbers. Now mode is 42, which means mode has to come at least twice. So 42, I'm gonna write 42 at least twice. And why I'm writing 42 for the last blank also? Because I don't want to have a number which is greater than 42. I want to have a number which is less than 42, because I want to maximize the smallest integer. I could have written this as 42, then the number at the last blank could have been 42 or more than 42. 42 or more than 42, because the terms have to be in the ascending order, because we have taken median also into consideration. When we take the concept of median into consideration, you either arrange terms in ascending order or in descending order. Okay. So when it says mode is 42, which means 42 will come at least twice. 42 will come at least twice. If I would have put 42 just to the right of 40, then at the last blank you will have a number which is 42 or greater than 42. Okay. So I will not take this case, and I'll take this case when 42, the two 42s come at the last and the second last position, which means at the third last position you can have 40. You cannot have a number lesser than 40 at the third last position. Don't take it to be 41, because you want to minimize all the numbers. Okay. Now let's add these numbers up. So 40 is 80, 80, 160, 164. So sum of these four numbers will be 164. And subtracting that from 245, you will get a total of 81. Which means sum of these numbers will be equal to 81. Now can we divide 81 by 3? I guess we can, and that will be 27. So the maximum possible value of the smallest integer, or the integer at the first blank or the first dash, will be 27. It cannot be anything greater than 27. That's not possible. So couple of things. When you talk about median, you have to arrange terms either in ascending or descending order. I took it to be ascending order. Median was 40, so fourth term has to be 40. Now mode is 42, that means 42 has to come at least twice. So I ensure that 42, both the 42s are at the last two positions. Okay. And at the position just to the right of 40, just to the right of median, I will take again 40. I will not take any other number apart from 40 because I want to minimize all the numbers so that I can maximize the smallest possible number. So adding the last four numbers, it's going to give me 164, which means the sum of the first three numbers is 81, which means number A, B and C will be 27, 27 and 27, which will be 27, 27 and 27. So the maximum possible value of the smallest integer is 27. That's your answer. Interesting question. Alright, let's move on. Pause the video and try this. Question number 4, please. Okay, so this is a question which is based on the concept of weighted average or weighted mean. Okay, so apart from mean in the first video, we also discussed the basics of weighted average or weighted mean. This question is basically based on that, the concept of weighted average or weighted mean. Okay, let's see what we can do with this one. Average fees paid by one group consisting of n number of students is 17,500. So you have n students and they have paid a total of 17,500. Not total, this is the average. The average fees paid by another group of consisting of n minus 1 students is 22,500. So the average of another group of n minus 1, it's 22,500. Is the average fees paid by 2n minus 1 students greater than 20,000? Is the average fees paid by 2n minus 1 students greater than 20,000? Okay, now try and understand this question. Let's say instead of saying n minus 1 students paying average of 22,500, let's suppose I had n students here also. So I have n students paying 17,500. I have n students paying 22,500. Can I say in that case, my average would be exactly 20,000, yes or no? Can I say in that case my average would be exactly 20,000, yes or no? Because the frequencies are equal, so average will exactly be in the center. If you remember from the last lecture, we took an example of person having weight 50 kg and a person having weight 60 kg. So if you have one person having weight 50, one person having weight 60, average will be 55. Two person having weight 50 each, two person having weight 60 each, average will be 55 again. So if you have n people paying 17,500 each and n people paying 22,500 each, my average for these 2n people would exactly be 20,000. It would exactly be 20,000. But what's the question? The question is you don't have n students paying 22,500. You have n minus 1 paying 22,500. You have n minus 1 paying 22,500. In short, you have one extra student. You have one extra student paying 17,500. You have one extra student paying 17,500. Now, if you have one extra student paying 17,500, can I say that your average will automatically shift towards 17,500? Because that is what we discussed in weighted average. Your average tends to shift towards that observation. Your average tends to shift towards that observation which has a higher frequency. Which has a higher frequency. Okay, which has a higher frequency. So your average will automatically shift towards 17,500. Now I do not know what exactly it's going to be. It will depend upon the value of n. But I know one thing for sure, that my average will be less than 20,000. That's for sure. Because I have one extra student paying 17,500. I have one extra student paying 17,500. Okay. So is the average fees paid by 2n minus 1 greater than 20,000? Your answer is no. It is actually less than 20,000. It is actually less than 20,000. You can relate this question with, let's suppose you have two people weighing 50-50, two people weighing 60-60, so your average is 55. But if I have two people weighing 50 and three people weighing 60, in that case your average will be greater than 55. Why would it be greater than 55? Because the frequency of 60 is more. Because the frequency of 60 is more, the average tends to shift towards that observation which has a higher frequency. That's the concept of weighted average. Okay. All right. So in this case, the answer becomes no. All right. Let's move on to the question number 5. So pause the video and try this question, please. All right. Let's see how we can solve this one. The number n and k are added to the set X consisting of 4 numbers. Its mean will increase by 25%. All right. So I can say that mean, first of all, let's calculate mean of 2, 8, 10 and 12. So mean will be 10 and 10, 20, 32 by 4, which is 8. So mean of 2, 8, 10, 12, n and k, mean of these 6 numbers will be 8 plus, it is increasing by 25%. 25% basically means 1/4 of something. So it's going to increase by 1/4 of it. So 1/4 of 8 is 2. So 8 plus 2 is 10. So we can say that 32 plus n plus k divided by 6, because now you have 6 numbers, so it will be divided by 6, that is equal to 10, which will give you n plus k is equal to 28, which will give you n plus k is equal to 28. Alright, now what's the question? What is the value of n square plus 2nk plus k square? So if you're gonna solve this is basically your basic algebraic identity, and this will become n plus k whole square. This will become n plus k whole square, because when you say a plus b whole square, it's a square plus 2ab plus b square. So n plus k whole square is n square plus 2nk plus k square. Your answer is simply 28 whole square, and that you simply need to calculate. So it will be 28 into 28, which will be 784, which will be 784. All right, simple question. Let's move on now. So pause the video and try this question number 6, please. All right, let's try this one. Convenience store currently stocks 48 bottles of mineral water. The bottles have two sizes of either 20 or 40 ounces each. Okay, so you have a total of 48 bottles. I mean, the store has. So let's consider X number of bottles are of 20 ounces each. So 48 minus X will be of 40 ounces each. The average volume per bottle, the store currently has in the stock is 35 ounces. The average is 35 ounces, which means I can say 20 into x plus 40 into 48 minus x divided by 48. This should be equal to 35, because how do you calculate average? You're going to multiply the observation with the corresponding frequency, add all the sums and divide by total number, right? So I have x bottles of 20 ounces each, so total quantity will be 20 into x. I have 48 minus x bottles of 40 ounces each, so that will be 40 into 48 minus x, and that will be divided by 48 bottles, so that will be equal to 35. 48 represents the total number of bottles, so sum divided by total number, that is equal to average, so which will be equal to 35. So you can do this. So this will become 20x plus 40 into 48, that is 1920, minus 40x, and that will be equal to 35 into 48, which will come out to be 1680. So this will give you that 20x is equal to 1920 minus 1680, so that is 240. So x will be equal to 12. X will be equal to 12. Alright, now moving on with the question, it says that how many 40 ounces bottle must be sold for the average volume per bottle to be reduced to 25 ounces if no 20 ounce bottle are sold. Alright, fine, fair enough. Let's see what we can do with this one. So I have x is equal to 12, that means I have 12 20 ounces bottle, and I'm gonna have like 36 40 ounces bottle. How many 40 ounce bottles must be sold for the average volume per bottle to be reduced to 25 ounces? Alright, so let's say we have sold Y bottles. Let's say we have sold Y bottles. So if we have sold Y bottles, then I can say my average, like basically what I mean to say that when we have sold Y bottles, my average has come down to 25 ounces. Okay, this is basically what I mean. Then I can say, or I can calculate my average as 12x plus 40 into 36 minus y divided by a total of 48 minus y, and that will be equal to 25. That will be equal to 25. Okay, so you just have to calculate this. So let me remove this, we don't need this any further. So this will become 12x plus 40 into 36, so 120 1440 minus 40y. Did I do something wrong in this? I think it should be 12 into 20, not x, my mistake. It should be 12 into 20, because I have 12 bottles each of 20 ounces, so this is 12 into 20. Okay, I have mistakenly written it as x. So 12 into 20 is 240 minus 40y, that will be equal to 48 into 25, which is 1200 minus 25y. So let's add them up. So 1440 plus 240 minus 1200, which is like 480, and this will basically be equal to 15y. So this will give you y is equal to 32. This will give you y is equal to 32. So how many 40 ounces bottle must be sold? So 30 to 40 ounces bottle must be sold in order for the average to come down to 25. In order for average to come down to 25. All right, try question number 7. All right, let's try this one. Set A contains the consecutive integers ranging from x to y. The number of integers in set A that are less than 75 is equal to number of integers that are greater than 75. What is the value of 3x plus 3y? All right. So that means it says that it's ranging from x to y, which means set A would be something like this. You're gonna have x, then some integers, then you're gonna have 75, then you're gonna have some integers, and then you're gonna have y. So you're gonna have, like, if you have p integers less than 75, then you're gonna have p integers greater than 75. So in total you're gonna have like 2p plus 1 integers. The number of integers in set A which are less than 75 is equal to number of integers that are greater than 75. What is the value of 3x plus 3y? Alright, what is the value of 3x plus 3y? Okay, let me write couple of let me give you one example of consecutive integers. So let's say I write like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive integers. Okay, and third is the middle one. So you have 2 integers before 3, 2 integers less than 3, and 2 integers greater than 3. Now the interesting part whenever you write consecutive integers is that the sum of the first and the last, or the average of the first and the last integer, which is basically 5 plus 1 by 2, will basically be equal to the middle integer. Similarly, average of second and the fourth will also be equal to the third integer. So take any number of consecutive integers. Sum of the first and the last, or sorry, the average of first and the last will be equal to the middle integer. Average of second and second last will also be equal to the middle integer. Average of third and third last will also be equal to the middle integer. This is basically what you need to know about the concept. Which means for the question above, I can say that x plus y by 2 should be equal to 75. Which means x plus y by 2 should be equal to 75, or in short I can say that x plus y is equal to 150. Which means x plus y will be equal to 150. Now I don't need to calculate x plus y. What I need to calculate is 3x plus 3y, which is basically 3 times of x plus y, which will give you the final answer as 450. That is all that you had to do in this question. Alright, let's move on. Pause the video and try this question number 8, please. Alright, given the ascending set x, x, y, 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 what is greater, the median or the mean? Ascending set basically means the numbers are arranged in their ascending orders. What is greater, the median or the mean? Okay. Now, if I want to calculate the median, I basically have 6 terms, right? So if you have even terms, then the medianth term, will be 6 by 2th term and 6 by 2 plus 1th term, which will basically be my 3rd term and my 4th term. So my 3rd term is y and my 4th term is also y. Now you simply have to take the average of these two terms. So it will be y plus y, which is 2y by 2, which will be equal to y. So median of these terms will basically be equal to y. So I can write that median is y. Now if you want to calculate the mean is nothing but sum of the observations divided by total number of observations. So mean will be 2x plus 4y divided by 6. Alright, so the mean is 2x plus 4y divided by 6. Now many of you will say that one quantity is like the mean is 2x plus 4y divided by 6 and another one is y. So we do not know the value of x, we do not know the value of y, so answer can't be determined, and that would be incorrect. Again, it is the concept of weighted average or the average. See, observe this one carefully. It is 2x plus 4y divided by 6. Let me give you a couple of numbers. Okay, let me give you 6 numbers. My numbers are 2, 2, 4, 4, 4 and 4. If I ask you to calculate the average of these 6 numbers, it will be 16 plus 4, that is 20 divided by 6. That is 20 divided by 6, which is basically less than 4, yes or no? Which is basically less than 4. In this case, that is 2x plus 4y divided by 6. Had my mean was 6y divided by 6, it would have been simply equal to y, yes or no? Had my mean 6x divided by 6, in that case my mean would have been simply y, because 6 and 6 would cancel out each other. But what I have is 2x plus 4y divided by 6. Can I say that I'm basically adding a smaller number? Because x is a smaller number, right? X is basically less than y because the terms are arranged in ascending order. X and y are two different entities. They are not similar. If they would have been similar, then x and y should be the same quantity. There is no point of representing that with two different alphabets. I know that x is less than y. Which means, can I say 2x will be less than 2y? 2x will be less than 2y, which means this mean will become less than 2y plus 4y divided by 6, which will give you result as less than 6y divided by 6, which will be less than y, yes or no? My mean is 2x plus 4y divided by 6. I know that x is less than y because the terms are arranged in ascending order. Which means if x is less than y, so 2x will be less than 2y. Hence my average will be less than 2y plus 4y divided by 6, which is less than 6y divided by 6, which is less than y. So my mean is less than y, my median is y. It can be anything less than y, that would depend upon the value of x and y, but it is less than y, that's for sure. So which of them is greater? The median is greater. The median is greater. That's your answer. It's just like you just have to think, that's it. See, let's say suppose we give you one more example, maybe that will help you more. let's say I give you numbers as 4 numbers as 4 4 4 4, and let's suppose if I give you two numbers as 3.9 and 3.9. Adding these two numbers to these four numbers, adding these two numbers to these four numbers, this will also take your mean less than 4. You can add them up, you can find out your answer. 4 4 4 4 16, and this will become 7.8, which is basically 23.8 divided by 6, which will again be less than 4, because 6 into 4 is 24. Even if you take it to be 3.99999, if you take these two terms, that is 3.9 and 3.9, if you take these two terms to be 3.999999 and so on and so forth, and if you take both the terms to be 3.99 and so on and so forth, you will get your result as 23.999999 divided by 6, which is again less than 4, which is again less than 4. So unless and until these two terms, that is 3.9 and 3.9, are 4, your average will always be less than 4. Your average will always be less than 4. You can also take one real life example. Let's suppose you appear for 5 unit test, and for 4 of them you score 20, but for 5th one you scored only 19. In that case your average will be less than 20. This will be 99 by 5, which is less than 20, which is less than 20 again. Okay, this is what you need to understand. It's all about concept and understanding the problem, that's it. Anyways, so pause the video and try this question number 9, please. Alright, let's try this one. There is a set of numbers in ascending order, again in ascending order. If the mean is 9 and the median is 7, what is the value of x? Okay, so let's see how many numbers do we have. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. I have 9 numbers. So my medianth term will be 9 plus 1 divided by 2, which will basically be my 5th term. So which is the 5th term in the ascending order? 1 2 3 4 5. This is the 5th term. So my median is y. So it says that the median is 7, which means y will be equal to 7. And the median is, the mean is 9, so add them up. So let's add them up. So I have y minus x, y, x is x plus y. Okay, I have a negative x here, I have a positive x here. So when I'm gonna add them up, these two are gonna get cancelled. So I have 1y, 2y, 3y's, 4y's, 5y's, 6y's, 1x and 2x, 3x. So 6y plus 3x divided by 9, and that should be equal to 9. So 6 into y, that is 6 into 7, 6 7's 42, plus 3x, that should be equal to 81. So 3x is 39, or x will be equal to 30, or x will be equal to 30. What is the value of x? X is 30. That's your answer. Alright, pause the video and try this question. Okay, so Z is defined as the sum of modes of set A, B and C. What is the value of Z? Alright, so we just need to calculate the modes. Let's see. So let's start with set A. So I have 0, 1, 0 twice. I have 3 1s, so this is out. I have 4 1s. I have 4 twice and I have 4 thrice. So I think 4 will be my mode for set A. For B, I don't have 20 twice, so this is out. 12, nope. Minus 7 is once, minus 7 is twice. So for set B, minus 7 is for there. Minus 9 is 1, so this is out. Now I also have minus 5 twice. So there are two modes in this, that is minus 7 and minus 5. Okay, set B is also done. And if you talk about set C, there are basically no modes in there. There are basically no modes. Because all of them, there are 3 numbers and all of them are coming like 1, so they're like no modes. So Z is defined as the sum of modes of set A, B and C. What is the value of Z? So sum these numbers up. So this is 4 plus minus 7 plus minus 5, which will give you your answer as minus 8. Which will give you your answer as minus 8. Alright, let's talk about the next topic, the next concept, that is the concept of range. Okay. Now, whenever we talk about this concept or this term range in starts, it's a very simple thing and it is defined as the maximum value minus the minimum value for a given set of numbers. So range is simply defined as the maximum value minus the minimum value for a given set of numbers. For example, let's suppose you have a set of numbers such as 0, 1, 2, 3, minus 1, 11, 7, 8, 12, 13. And let's suppose if I ask you to calculate range of these numbers. So what is range? Range is maximum value minus the minimum value, or the difference between the maximum or the minimum value. Okay, it's very simple. So the difference, first of all, in this case, the maximum value is 13 and minimum value is minus 1. So the range will become 13 minus of minus 1, which is equal to 14. The range is equal to 13 minus of minus 1, which is equal to 14, and that's your answer. So this is how we basically define range and starts. There is nothing else. There is no theory apart from this which you need to know as far as the concept range is concerned. Alright. Alright, so let's try a question or two on this concept. So pause the video and try this question, please. Alright, let's see how we can solve this one. So if set X consists numbers minus 21, 6, 19, 126, 1000, set Y contains number minus 21, 990, 993 and so on and so forth. What is the difference between the ranges of set X and set Y? Okay, so I can say that for set X, the range will be 1000, which is the maximum number, minus the minimum number, which is minus 21. So that is 1021. That is 1021. And if I talk about the range of set Y, the range of set Y will basically be the maximum number, which is 1000, and the minimum number is again like minus 21. This is minus of minus 21, which is again equal to 1021. So difference between the ranges, is 0. Okay? And you do get questions like these in the exam. Okay, it's not that these are only the conceptual questions, you do get these questions. Recently a question on this similar type, it come in the exam GRE. Okay, all right, so let's try with one more question. So pause the video and try this one, please. Okay, let's go through this one. So a set of 15 different integers have a range of 25 and a median of 25. What is the greatest possible integer that could be in the set? So I have a set of 15 different integers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have 15 different integers and the range is 25. And it says median is 25, which means the 8th term has to be 25. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This here it is 25. It says 15 different integers and I need to have a range of 25 also. So here it is x and here it is y. So I know that y minus x is equal to 25. Alright, so I want to maximize y, that's my concern. I want to maximize this value. If I want to maximize y, and since y minus x is 25, can I say y can also be written as 25 plus x? So indirectly, if I want to maximize y, can I say I'll have to maximize x also? I'll have to maximize x also because y is 25 plus x, right? So I want to find out the maximum possible value of x. Now it says that we have different integers. Now in order to maximize the value of x, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply reduce the numbers by 1. So that is, this will become 24, this will be 23, 22, this will be 21, this is 20, this is 19 and this is 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this will be the value, the maximum value of x that you can take is 18. It cannot be greater than 18 because the numbers are different. We have different integers. Okay, so we have to take different integers. So the maximum value of x that we can take is equal to 18. So I can say that the maximum value of y will automatically become 25 plus 18, which will be equal to this will be equal to 43. That's the maximum possible value of y. If you reduce x further, then y will also be reduced further, and you have to take another thing into consideration, that the integers are different. Okay, so the maximum possible value of y will be equal to 43, because if you want to maximize y, you'll have to maximize x. That's how it works. Correct? So this is more or less everything as far as the concept is concerned of mean, median, mode and range, and we have discussed some basic questions also. So as far as the stats part is concerned, now you should be able to understand the basics of mean, median, mode, range, standard deviation and box plot. All right, there's just one topic in this chapter which is left, that is standard normal distribution curve, which is usually asked in GMAT or in GRE. However, it's like very rarely that this concept SNDC is asked. Apart from that, more or less we have done everything in stats. Nothing else is left. Alright guys, so thank you so much. So if you have any questions, if you have any queries, if you have any suggestions, if you have any comments, please do let us know in the comment box. If you have any doubts, you can ask us, you can WhatsApp us, or you can drop in a mail. You can also put that in the comment box. And if you're looking for the individual classes, if you're looking for personalized classes for SAT, GMAT or GRE, you can always connect with me anytime. And please subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the videos, and please pass it on to your friends also. Please like the video and share it. Alright guys, thank you so much. Keep watching and keep learning.